guys, Dandelion Song here. So we're still going over some of these numbers from this last Back to the Books video that I did on this book called Taking Measure by Scott Onscott. And I read to you this portion about the number 81, and these are some of the words that I analyzed, which I wanted to show you. So ennead is the idea of, it's two different ideas, and I go over this in the other video, the recent video, in which the title is going to have the 81 stable elements and 1, 2, 3 symbolism, which is the it's the meridian of Oregon, and that is why they had that action right there in Oregon, is because of the meridian 1, 2, 3 was foreshadowed in the Pope visit. I didn't predict it, but now looking back you can see it was foreshadowed. Okay, so ennead, I went over this briefly in one of them. Basically, it's you can see right here that the ENN is a 30. Sorry, it's a, yeah, I just want to make sure. I was doing it in my head. 33. And then over here, the EAD is a 10 in the simple gematria. So then it all equals up to be a 43. Now, whenever we see 33s, we do want to just pay attention. So here, the reason why this is probably a 33 is because this symbolizes the 5-pointed star, the balance of the 5 elements, and then this is a double N, which is this. If you look at the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, many of the gods or the pharaohs who claim to be gods have the N, a long N or a wave shape in their name, and that means that they have the power of speech. They have the power to create from their sound. And basically everybody has that power. It's just that they know that and they use it wisely. Most people today are taught to misappropriate the power of their speech. They sing the songs that they're taught to sing. They say the sayings that they hear other people say, and your speech is misappropriated. And basically, you are, and also most people don't even know what English means. That's why we do all these words, because we're going to figure out what English means, and we're going to understand the words that we say, because we basically don't understand any of the words that we say. But if there's a cliche, you probably don't want to say that cliche, because it probably has a dark magic effect on you and whoever you're talking to. Okay, the number, the word number. I'm probably filming too early in the morning. Later on, I have an easier time talking, so just bear with me. Okay, this equals in the simple gematria, which I did on the bottom, which is the straight placement code of the alphabet. This equals 50. So let's just walk through this. So the N and the U together equals 35, and this is the UN. This is the I symbolism. I was just thinking, when you the word un, or the prefix un, usually means to set something backwards. So that's just all of a sudden occurred to me right there. So I just had to pause and think about that for a second. Nu, going this way, is a phonetic association. They do phonetic associations. So besides going backwards, forwards, it would mean recreating. And then this all equals the I, which is the I cosmology of our world, as forecast in the symbolism of the scarab, which is basically it's just a Pandora's box of solar science. It shows you how advanced the Egyptians were, and modern academics will teach you that the Egyptians were dumb. They're not dumb. That's wrong. Okay. All right, so after that, then we have a 13. So this adds here to a 48. And then I just, actually the whole thing doesn't add. It's just num. Num adds to 50, sorry. So then if you add the B in, that's 50. Now 50 is an important number because this is the 50th state is Hawaii. And again, that is HI. That's 17. It's pi. It's supposedly the birthplace of Obama, although I think he was born in Hawaii, Kenya. But so then if we add the 23 to this, then it's a 73, which is the final creation. Did I write this down wrong? Darn it. This is a 73. I confused myself because then I take a bunch of, like I did the BER to understand what would be the 25, because the BER would also be pi in another form, because P plus I equals 25. So that's what I did, and then I confused myself and wrote it down over here. Well, this adds up to 73. Now 73 is the star matrix mirror number, the 12, 21 prime mirror. 12th prime is 37, 21st prime is 73. 12 and 21 adds up to 33, the Freemason number, every which way. And they keep associating the 12 and the 21 with the creation, the beginning and the end of the creation, and the 37 and the 73 with the beginning and the end of the creation. So number is the end creation. Very, very interesting. I don't know exactly what it means, but I think we need to pay attention to that. Now in the menorah gematria, which is this code right here, and I have a whole video playlist on this menorah code. It's basically based on pi. If you get turned off by the idea of the menorah, don't, because Zionists and Jesuits are all on the same team with Freemasons, and we need to understand what they're talking about. So this is basically a pi code. It's just that pi matches menorah. Now, you can also notice that, like I tell you, that Tefnut, the ancient sky goddess of Egypt, was associated with 7 lotuses, which is a Pleiadian reference. You can see that they, if we have dark players today and they're holding the 7 to themselves, this would be another idea of the dark taking a positive symbol and darkening it. Depending on how you see this. Regular Jewish people are just regular. Regular Catholic people are regular. Regular Christians, for the most part, are regular. It's the people at the top who are deceiving their followers. Okay, in the menorah gematria, NUMB, because it's a 50, and this is important because this is a Venus form of 25 and 25, which is a double pi. So the 50 is always a completion of Venus number, and this is why the whole story that I told you about Hawaii. That's why they laid the numbers out like this. Now in pi, as you lay it straight out, the 31st digit after the decimal point and the 32nd digit is a 5 and an O. So those are the last 2 steps before what they would call enlightenment or thawing, because you've been frozen. You weren't able to think for yourself. You were only able to regurgitate what you were taught. And then you become unfrozen or thawed as you become a 33rd degree Freemason. That's the whole idea of this. And that 33rd number of pi happens to be a 2, which represents Isis, because it's B, and she's pregnant with the Christ child. And basically, the kingdom of God is within. So she has the Christ within. And that should be the same as you. And that would be the 33rd degree. Okay? And that's why I took the time to figure out what numb is. So numb, you are still numb, you are still frozen when you are at this number, which is 32. That's still frozen, freezing temperature. This is why we need to dig these words apart and figure out what is going on here and what these words mean and what will they tell us. We basically don't understand very much. So frozen here, numb, plus 23, which we've seen so much about the 923 lately, and I believe this 23 is the downward facing pentacle. So this is the low point of the dark, and then we're going to be. Some people are referring to this as the triumph of the dark. I think it's the low point. It's or the high point of the dark, or the low point of the light, and then there will be a increasing of light and an increasing clash of light and dark. The 9 and the 11, which is 9 and 11 and 923 are equivalents from the Julian to the Gregorian calendar. If this is your first video with me, I know that this just is way more than you signed up for. But just hang in there with me. Just listen to my voice. We'll do some easier stuff. I'll bring you some Simpsons. I'll bring you some movies. I'll bring you some trailers, some color codes, and eventually, it's the only problem. The only reason why this is hard is because we're all grown-ups now, pretty much, and the Freemasons, they all learned this in kindergarten. That's why J.K. Rowling made the story of that they all go to a different school. Yes, they go to a different school, and they learned all this in kindergarten, and it was the same as reading. So this sounds very wild. It sounds like I'm a kook, but I'm not. If I tried to teach you how to read and you never knew how to read and you also didn't know anybody, you knew nobody who could read. You would think that reading was a crock of shit. Excuse my language. So this is not a crock. This is actually true, and I have figured this out on my own. Nobody taught me this, although I am reading these books, but as you can see, this book doesn't tear apart these numbers like this, and they don't talk specifically about the 37 and the 73. I haven't found that, so I figured a lot of stuff out on my own. There's actually something else in this book, very, very urgent, that I want to bring you, where Scott Onscott talks about the Washington Monument and the Isis and Osiris codes in the Washington Monument. And I have made multiple videos and referenced this in many of my videos, what I found in Washington, which I have not seen that anybody else has found. The way that Scott Onscott talks about it, I think he actually knows. And he is possibly an insider, so he's not allowed to tell you. This is the book about what he's allowed to tell you. So if you want to see that what I'm talking about, if you're new to my channel, you probably need to review this before we get to this next back to the books that I'm going to bring you on this subject about the Washington Monument, and just to show you what Scott Onscott tells you. It underlies what I have told you, but I told you this before I read this. So go and see those videos having to do with Isis and Washington. All right, I'm lost now. Oh, all right. So the menorah gematria, which is this code right there, the num equals 10. This is the same as 37 and 73 add up to 10, and Ra adds up to 10. And this is the idea of the X 10 in Roman numerals. And then over here you have I wrote the 2 twice. So this is also a 10. The E and the R is a 10. I wrote the 2 twice, and then I confused myself again. Please excuse me. I did this at like midnight last night. It's one of my times to read. So it doesn't equal a 22. It equals a 20 in the menorah gematria. So I know you want an explanation for that, but what we're going to say is that the root of numbers is from your 10 hands and your 10 toes. That's why it's a 20. That's my explanation for right now. If I get a better explanation for that, I will tell you. All right, I hope you guys like this video. Thanks for watching. Hang in there with me. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, so I was correcting my writing here. So there's a little PS on the end of this. Hi, guys. I was looking at, what else can we find out about 73, and I can find out a lot more on Wikipedia. But it equals 35 and 35, which is the 2 eyes. The eye of good and evil, and they say that Christ was crucified between the 2 thieves, and then in the Bible they talk about the eyes being the thieves, and if he's crucified between the 2 thieves on the cross, which is the cross behind the 2 eyes in brain anatomy, which would be the optic chiasma, that means he is the pineal gland. The pineal gland, which is the all-knowing, the inner knowing, where you don't need to follow anybody else's idea. You have your own idea. That's the source of the pineal gland, and that is the all-seeing. And that was the idea of the A to begin with, and the all-seeing eye that's on the dollar. That was the original idea. And then the dark took it and made it into a dark symbol. But that's originally the idea of the pineal gland, which is your all-knowing. So if the dark, all these pop stars, if they succeed in turning you against the symbolism, you will never figure this out. So beware of channels that say this is demonic and that's demonic and don't look at it. You have to think. Why are they showing you something demonic? Who is showing this to you? Someone demonic is showing this to you. Does that mean that what they're saying to you is true? It means that they want you to, they are giving you a message of this is demonic. Turn away in terror. Go back to your churches. Go and believe, you know, what you're told. They don't want you to investigate these symbols. They don't want you to see them. And so they make them demonic. All right, well, anyway, 3535, I told you about that, and the cross in the pineal gland, and the crucifixion in the skull of Golgotha. And then also we add on to that a trinity. That's the 3 dots. Those are the 3 suns. This is the 3 suns. The trinity of suns is also the upper chalice, the as above, and then the pyramids are the as below. And they actually point to each other, and the pyramids are a star map of the trinity of suns and all the other stars as well, especially Orion and the Pleiades. They're all mapped there. If you would like to have a really awesome Christmas gift for your loved ones, over here on the right, I just was looking at all of the menorah gematria that adds up to 365, the anagram. That's why that's over there. If you would like to have an awesome gift for your loved ones, the Wayne Herschel book, Hidden Records, is a really good place to start. Color pictures. It doesn't cost too much. He's trying to get together a documentary. He has a lot of good information, and he is basically the only one that I know of right now talking about the Trinity of Suns and showing you the truth of it. And he has flown in the face of academics, and I don't agree with him on every point, but he is anti-academic, and that is a very positive thing. And the academics are very unhappy with him, because if his information gets out, they all look like dummies. So go ahead and buy that book. Support people. Well, I won't go into what I disagree with Wayne Herschel. It doesn't matter. I think you'll like that book. All right. So, and he needs support. He has a research team. I don't have a research team, and I don't really want one. But I really enjoy his research. So you could also follow him on Facebook. He's right there on Facebook, and he has some really great videos on YouTube as well. All right, love you guys. Talk to you later.